Insurance has positions available for individuals that have sales experience or for those that do not, but have always been interested in a sales career. We offer a guaranteed base salary so you can earn a wage while you're learning and building your book of business. We surround you with a team of experienced sales management professionals to ensure your success, from getting your license to helping you with referrals and sales presentations. And our owners have invested in resources, technology, systems, and people that'll give you a competitive edge. There's no ceiling on your earning potential.
So why else would someone work at R&R Insurance over other insurance companies that might also be looking for people?
Vince, our culture is that of a family-owned organization. The third generation are all leading the business today. They're heavily invested. No private equity partners, no shareholders with unrealistic demands, just a well-run, local company with a great future. And unlike many others, we're not for sale.
So if somebody's interested, they want to learn more, what do they do?
Vince, I'd be happy to connect with them. They can call the R&R Insurance main number at 262-574-7000 and just ask for Jeff Salasinski. Or even easier, ask for Jeff from the radio.
Let's do that. Once again, the number is 262-574-7000. Call R&R Insurance. Ask for Jeff from the radio. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
I don't have to tell you that a lot of dust and other junk collects in your ductwork. And it doesn't just sit there. It's blowing around in your home. And that jeopardizes your home health. The commercial industrial duct cleaning system we use at Quality darn near sucked the shirt right off our tech the first time he used it. Believe me, not everybody has this powerful of a system. It's unlike any other. At Quality, you get the best duct cleaning, period. So call Quality first for your duct cleaning needs.
For the signature service you deserve.
Whether it's 24/7 emergency service or it's just time to replace your furnace, at Quality we'll be out so fast you won't even notice the heat being off. And if you're buying a high-efficiency furnace from Armstrong or Carrier, you'll qualify for state and federal tax rebates that'll pay for a big chunk of the cost. This is Anthony Zanevsky from Quality, where you'll get the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
This is Wisconsin's Midday News, and we have breaking news. J.D. Vance just sworn in as vice president while being surrounded by his family. Let's listen in to the cheers.
After me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And now we're quickly listening in as they move swiftly to President-elect Donald Trump being sworn in once again, now the 47th President of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Donald Trump just sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. A swearing-in ceremony happening in the Capitol Rotunda, and that's due to the cold temperatures outside. This was really interesting. It was all set to be outside. So many people had tickets, and a lot of those people who had tickets are not actually inside. They couldn't get in, and some people actually left over the weekend thinking this was not as planned. Others are inside and watching history take place.
Inside the Capitol Rotunda, full house, plenty of notable figures also present in the front row. You have Elon Musk. You also have Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, a number of other tech individuals in the front row. Dana White, president of UFC, present for the ceremony. J.D. Vance, previously sworn in ahead of Donald Trump as vice president of the United States, and now handshakes are being shared with the gathered dignitaries as a standing ovation sends off the now formally confirmed President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
A new poll from CBS News finds a majority of Americans are optimistic about the next 4 years with Donald Trump, even more so than they were in 2017 before his first term. Most are hopeful about the coming year that's bolstered by expectations for a good economy in 2025. There is wide belief among Trump voters that he'll bring down grocery prices, make them better off financially, and bring more peace and stability to the world. That same poll, by the way, finds Joe Biden leaves office with ratings far more negative than when he started, and a retrospective approval rating lower than any he received during his term. When Americans look back now on Biden's presidency, 37% approve of the job he did over the last 4 years, and that is just below any approval mark he received while in office. But it's really neat to watch, to take a look inside. We watched as the former presidents came out. It's not often that you see all the former presidents together, but we just did, of course, for a funeral, and now here for a day that marks the beginning of a new chapter for Donald Trump.
Right now, the Battle Hymn of the Republic being performed inside the Capitol Rotunda. We are awaiting the first speech from Donald Trump as the President of the United States, the 47th President of the United States. Plenty of pomp and circumstance pomp and pageantry, once again inside the Capitol as ceremonies moved inside due to the cold outdoors.
Let's listen in one more time. As we listen as the Battle Hymn of the Republic is performed, something to note, a stack of actions designed to reshape government policy await the new president's signature as soon as he's sworn in. It is a dramatic show of force meant to set the tone for the next 4 years here. Trump is not likely to wait until he reaches the Oval Office to bring out his Sharpie pen, though. On the campaign trail, he's joked a couple of times, actually, about placing a tiny desk on the inaugural platform to sign his orders. Some will await him at the U.S. Capitol immediately after his swearing in. And we are right now awaiting his big speech. Donald Trump sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, ready for chapter number 2 as our president, as we await him and his big speech. If you're listening in as the clapping continues, some who are watching as well might have noticed that Trump also used a Bible during his swearing in. It's a personal Bible, the same one that he used to take the oath of office back in 2017.
It is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. Illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We're going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay. And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We are going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There you have it. Donald Trump sworn in as our country's 47th president. You listened live right here on WTMJ. He started by saying, the golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish. President Trump saying, very simply, he will put America first. He talked about restoring safety and rebalancing the scales of justice. His speech, interestingly, reflected how he's viewing this go around differently. He talked about he returns as president confident and optimistic. He said that there's sunlight and we have power, that America has an opportunity to really seize the day. From this point on, he said, America's decline is over. Some very powerful quotes from the president.
And we also, Jessica, heard some of those many executive orders that President Trump announced previously that he would take action upon entering office. Among them, part of the official key priorities for the administration, 2 national emergencies will be declared today, one involving the southern border with several policies that will be implemented under the direction of new border czar Tom Homan, also a national energy emergency referencing drill baby drill. That is the plan.
Something else to take note of, he talked about the assassination attempt, and there were 2. An assassination attempt on his life, and he said that he believes he was saved by God to, quote, make America great again. He also talked about bringing free speech back to America and bringing law and order back to our cities. He said there is nothing our country cannot achieve. And he talked about, too, how many people thought that he would never be in the White House again. A lot of people didn't think that he would be in this position again. But as we have seen, Donald Trump, now our 47th president, also our 45th, he had an unprecedented comeback.
And he referenced that a few times also in his speech as well. Very, like you mentioned before, an optimistic approach to a second term that after the last 4 years, he mentioned that there's so much that he will be implementing as far as change, and we don't 100% know all of these executive orders that will be implemented today. But you heard several of them earlier, and we will be finding out plenty more about the remainders as we dig in this first week of the second Trump administration.
In a nutshell, President Trump's America First priorities: make America safe again, make America affordable and energy dominant again, and as he says, drain the swamp, also bring back American values. Something interesting to note as I was listening to the end of his inaugural address here, I went on to the White House's website, whitehouse.gov, and boom, it's amazing how they are already with this transition. I mean, as the moving trucks are going in and the Biden stuff is being pulled out and the Trump family stuff is going in, they're also working on this website to, as soon as he is sworn in, have this all change. And it's already changed. There's a big montage video of the president. And after that's done, you see a president of Trump. He is pointing out, and it says in big, bold letters, America is back. It goes on to say, every single day I'll be fighting for you with every breath in my body. I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. And as I mentioned off the top, that was what he came out with first. Basically, the golden age of America begins right now. But it's just kind of wild to see how quickly all this changes and how they're ready to go with this and listing the priorities. Talking about what happens at the White House. You can see the administration, all their new pictures that were very much talked about as well. It's a big day, another big day in history.
And it's continuing now, even though we've dipped out of the live coverage. Carrie Underwood, the performer for America the Beautiful. Today we heard opera singing and obviously the Battle Hymn of the Republic earlier as well.
And let's listen right now to Carrie Underwood.
I now call on Rabbi Ari Berman, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell.
Just like that, she finished up. But
Things
indeed,
move
we can
super
tell
quick.
you that Carrie Underwood right there, she's actually shaking President Trump's hand right now, shaking J.D. Vance's hand as well. But there's a lot of pomp and circumstance with this.
Absolutely. Something also interesting, you mentioned the website, and obviously the dominant news story of this past weekend was the will it go away or won't it with TikTok. No mention of the TikTok ban that went in for about 15 hours over the weekend, and then all of our phones, if you had it on, TikTok is back. No mention, although the TikTok CEO was among the tech moguls in the front row for the inauguration ceremonies.
I thought he might go there when he started to talk about free speech. I thought he might mention TikTok in there, but we do have that coming up for you, the latest on that coming up in our 12 o'clock hour here. But once again, history made. Donald Trump sworn in as our country's 47th president. You listen to it live right here on WTMJ. He says the golden age of America begins right now. Much more coverage right here on Wisconsin's Midday News after this.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Start the new year off right with a new Tempur-Pedic mattress from Steinhafels. Right now, you can get a new Tempur-Pedic for just $52 per month when you use Steinhafels 60-month financing. Plus, you get $300 in Steinhafels cash. Shop in-store or on steinhafels.com.
In a recent study, over one-third of millionaires predicted their ability to feel financially secure in retirement is going to take a miracle. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe a plan, not a miracle, will help increase your retirement confidence. Our team of experts gets to work using leading-edge technology to build comprehensive plans covering investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. And Annex doesn't have products to push with hidden fees or commissions. There's too much of that already. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary. More planning, fewer miracles. Know the difference. AnnexWealth.com.
David Nason here, your trusted Fix-It Show guy, here to give you some essential home maintenance advice. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, cracks in your basement, it's time to call the experts I trust at Accurate Basement Repair. They've fixed many of our listeners' basements, and the results were fantastic. Dry, secure, and peace of mind restored. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. Call them today.
Thanks, David. Accurate Basement Repair. We're not just good, we're accurate.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi!
Oh, look at this. I just checked out the current temperature. 1 degree in Milwaukee. It's something.
Above or below zero?
Above.
Okay.
It's something. We'll take one. It's better than nothing, and it's better than below.
We're grasping at straws a little bit, though.
Let's check in right now with TMJ4 meteorologist Tyler Moore, who is all in on the deep freeze. I don't mean you're all in like you want it, but you're all in on all the details of this. Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. We have no choice, right? At this point, we're all in, all of us together when temperatures are this cold. So, yeah, it's a struggle out there today, but I'll tell you what, we're getting through it slowly.
We are all in and all bundled up if you have to be outside. Hopefully you don't. The nice thing is that a lot of kids were off for MLK Day today. That really helped. Let's talk about first, how low have we gotten at this point, and where are we going from today into tonight?
Yeah, we saw low temperatures this morning drop close to about 5 to 10 below across the area. Wind chills this morning were close to 25 below at one point. We're starting to see, as you guys mentioned, temperatures at least warm up a couple degrees, trying to get on the positive side of zero across most of southeast Wisconsin. So I think we'll hit around 3-4 degrees for that high temperature today. But wind chills will still be close to 15 below even for this afternoon. Kids, I'm assuming probably going to be off of school tomorrow morning just because of how cold temperatures are trending. We still have that cold weather advisory across our area for tonight until noon tomorrow. And then areas north and west of Milwaukee, talking Jefferson, Dodge, Washington, Ozaukee, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan counties, they actually switched to extreme cold warnings tonight, starting at midnight until noon tomorrow. That's the area north and west of Milwaukee that's going to see wind chills potentially at 30 to 35 below tomorrow morning. And actual air temperatures will probably be close to 10 to 15 degrees below zero. So it was cold this morning, but we're probably going to drop those temperatures another 5 to 10 degrees as we head into tomorrow morning, as the coldest of this air mass moves through. And then finally, there is an end in sight. Once we get towards Wednesday afternoon, we'll start to warm things up.
Tyler, let's talk a bit about the snow or lack thereof, because I remember about 6 years ago in La Crosse, we had similarly cold air, but we also had a foot of snow, and so things were flirting with 60 below wind chills, I remember, at that time. Can you explain a bit more why, despite how cold it is, things could have been theoretically even worse?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, numbers could be probably about 10 degrees colder if we had snowpack on the ground. So thankfully, the bare ground does help warm temperatures up during the day. And you also don't get that freezer effect, right? You have ice and snow on the ground. You're automatically going to start things colder and stay colder. And that's what you're going to see if you do have snow on the ground. In fact, I was looking at some of the numbers this morning. Rhinelander, where they do have some snow, and even Wausau up towards central and northern Wisconsin, their wind chills this morning were close to 40 to 45 below at times, and the actual air temperature was close to 20 below. So we are on the fringe of some really cold air, but I'll tell you, the northern half of the state where there is snow on the ground, it kind of just shows you how lucky we are that we don't have a snowpack at this time.
Wow, yeah, we don't feel lucky, but I guess we are. Tyler, can you remind people how quickly you can get frostbite in temps like this? I feel like that's important.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. I mean, for the rest of this afternoon, you're talking about 30 minutes or less at times, just because of temperatures, how cold they are. But that gets worse tonight and into tomorrow morning. I think that's going to be the concern for anyone who has to head off to work, or if the kids do have to go to school. You're talking frostbite in 10 to 15 minutes tomorrow morning. So, I mean, that's serious stuff. That is bare skin being out in these elements. It does not take long to get frostbite. I know we are hardy Wisconsinites, but at some point we have to kind of heed Mother Nature and all she's throwing at us these next couple days.
I thought about that going to the Bucs game last night. I mean, we parked pretty close, but still, we were walking fast, and the way back out of the game, I was cheering, 4 wins in a row at home, love that, but I was also running. And I don't run for much, but I was running to the car because, yeah, it's dangerously cold.
Yeah, there's that common saying, in the Midwest, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the wind. I still think it'd be bad if there wasn't a wind right now. But yeah, that wind, through some of the buildings too, and when you get that wind out of the west, those cold temperatures, it just takes that warm layer that's on your skin and blows it away. And that's what our body relies on normal days. But then when you have that breeze that can remove it, then your skin temperatures can cool. Your body just can't keep up with how cold the outside air is to sufficiently warm your body, and that's when you start to get frostbite.
Pretty funny to think about. 72 hours ago, Tyler, you were in West Bend for the winter warm-up. We are well past that now.
Yeah, a 50-degree high temperature that day, too. I wish we had a couple more of those in the forecast, but I think we'll be looking forward to the 30s back in the forecast by this weekend. It won't be as big of a warm-up, but at least it'll feel pretty good by later in the week.
Okay, 30s. And what's the latest on the weather in D.C.? Obviously, the inauguration was moved inside. We just watched that. Everybody was inside, warm and toasty. But you still have a time when a lot of people are outside and they're just moving from spot to spot. I know it's nothing like what we're dealing with here, but it is cold. It's the first time that they've moved it inside in 40 years.
Yeah, D.C., they have wind chills right now in the teens at last check. Tonight there could be wind chills as low as 5 degrees below zero there, which for us doesn't sound too bad, but for them that is a big deal. So they do have a cold weather advisory there for those temperatures, falling into the single digits and wind chills below zero. So, yeah, it's going to be bitterly cold there for the rest of the day, too, as this cold air spills really far south. I think some of the headlines, too, that you'll probably see the next couple of days, Houston, Texas, New Orleans, parts of the upstate portion, the panhandle of Florida, going to pick up some snow later on tonight into Tuesday morning. So that just shows how far south this cold is pushing. Also, I saw some of the numbers this morning. 237 million Americans are under some sort of cold weather advisory or warning. That is a large chunk of the population.
And I guess it's a good time to remind people about the changes. Is this the first time we've used that new cold weather advisory, or have we already used it a couple times?
We used it a couple times. This is the first time that I've seen that we've used the extreme cold warning. That goes into effect tonight, north and west of Milwaukee. But, yeah, it is a good reminder that wind chill advisory has now switched to a cold weather advisory, and the wind chill warning has now gone to an extreme cold warning. And it is just the National Weather Service decision to kind of say, hey, we're going to simplify the terming of it. Some people are getting confused by it, so it's kind of, catch-22 at this point. But it's the same thing. It just means you really got to take caution if you're heading outside for longer periods of time.
All right. Who's jumping online right now and booking a flight to some warm weather place?
Might have to soon if this keeps up.
I think a handful of people are. All right. Well, that is winter in Wisconsin. Thank you so much. That's Tyler Moore, TMJ4 meteorologist. We appreciate it, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Have a great week.
You know some people are doing that, Adam. They're going on right now. They're, warm weather destination. Take me there. Take me there.
Travelocity should throw us a little bonus for spiking up their website traffic right now.
Whoo! It is so cold. I dressed for it. But you know what? As I look at you, if you're watching on streaming, you can see this. But Adam Roberts in a short sleeve shirt today.
Company shirt, I may add. But I am always hot. I mean, in our newsroom, it's been called a meat locker at times because it's so
cold.
Frozen cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
I always walk in like, what are you guys complaining about? This is great. It says 72. I believe it. No, I am perfectly fine in here. Though, I will admit, walking from the bus stop on Water Street, the 4 blocks over here, even though I was zipped up, scarfed on, hat, everything, my mustache bristles were still poking me in the face. It was quite chilly this morning.
Oh, I noticed that. Yeah, last night coming from the Bucks game, just your breath, all of a sudden my scarf was wet because you have the warmth of your breath. I know it was kind of, but that's just what it is. Yeah. Thank goodness a lot of the kids did not have school today.
Right.
We expect that there will be some cancellations tomorrow. It is 11:56. We're going to recombobulate after this. Come back with your top headlines at noon.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
On 894 North, just before the National Avenue exit, the right lane is closed. There's a medical emergency, it looks like.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, on the WTMJ traffic tip line, 414-238-9329.
Hello, Debbie. 41 South, just before Capitol Drive. There are 2 cars involved in an accident.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it? Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you could win over $2,000 in free play every month, all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Save big money on your bathroom upgrade now at Menards. Transform your bathroom with our great selection of Lion showers, bathtubs, and surrounds that match your style and budget. Lions knows how important design and function are. Their acrylic products offer strength and beauty that you can rely on for years to come. Check out our entire selection of Lions bathroom products today on Menards.com. Plus, view the weekly flyer for other great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Many times, patients have symptoms they didn't know were actually related to their airway breathing issues.
I was suffering from sinus issues,
jaw issues and neck pain. I guess I just kind of had my breaking point.
Unfortunately, this is typical. But until you get to the root of your problem, it's going to just persist. Fortunately, Jody took action, and the results were typical as well.
My quality of life is so different. But one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Being able to breathe freely is life-changing, and the effects can go beyond that.
Sleeping better, having more energy, and it seemed as if all of those symptoms that I had just melted away.
And thank heavens for that, because at Advent, results are what drive us, helping you breathe well so you can live better.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's noon. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, January 20th. I'm Jessica Tighe. Your top story, the 47th president sworn in.
I'm Adam Roberts. A cold weather death accident in Milwaukee.
A cold weather advisory is in effect through noon tomorrow. Expect wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. An extreme cold warning will go into effect for Jefferson, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties at midnight. That's for wind chills as low as 35 below. Today, we have a high of 5 degrees, and the wind is making it feel much worse. Tonight, we'll dip down to negative 10 at the lake, negative 15 inland. It is currently 1 degree in Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center in Washington, D.C., Donald Trump has been sworn in as our 47th president.
We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly. And nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
In his inauguration address, Trump outlined a number of executive orders he'll sign as he heads into his first 100 days, his second time in office. Those include ending the practice of releasing migrants in the U.S. to pursue asylum, declaring a national energy emergency to allow for more energy production, and ending what he's called an electric vehicle mandate.
Now, former President Joe Biden among the 4 living U.S. presidents in attendance for the inauguration. On his way out of office, former President Biden issuing a last-minute round of pardons.
President Biden announced in the final minutes of his presidency that he's issuing pardons for his brother Jim and Jim's wife Sarah, his sister Valerie Owens and her husband John, and his brother Frank. The president said in a statement his family has been subjected to, quote, unrelenting attacks and threats motivated solely by a desire to hurt me, the worst kind of partisan politics. He adds, unfortunately, I have no reason to believe these attacks will end. The president doesn't say what the pardons could be for, what he thinks his family would be targeted for, but he says the pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement of any wrongdoing or admission of guilt for any offense. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
New details about an 80-year-old man who died after being found on the sidewalk in the bitter cold. Surveillance video shows John Siebold of Milwaukee falling down on the corner of 13th and Orchard. Happened just before 2:30 a.m. on Sunday. Siebold then appears to get back up and grab a nearby tree before falling again. He was found nearly 4 hours later, unresponsive on the sidewalk. The medical examiner has ruled Siebold's death an accident.
That cold continuing today and for 2 more days after, as Arctic air continuing to spill into southeast Wisconsin. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Tyler Moore says the worst of the cold weather will arrive tomorrow morning when an extreme cold advisory takes effect for portions of the listening area.
That is north and west of Milwaukee. Most of the counties, including Jefferson, Dodge, Washington, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, and Fond du Lac. That will go into effect at midnight and continue until noon Tuesday for wind chills as low as 35 below, mainly north and west of Milwaukee.
As for today, that cold weather advisory continuing for all of southeast Wisconsin through noon tomorrow with wind chills between 20 and 30 degrees below zero. We'll have your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast in about 4 minutes.
Time for the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and it's a quick one because the markets are closed today for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather on the way next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ news time is 12:04.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Numbness, tingling in the hands, arms, legs, feet. Time to go see Dr. Alex Young and my team at Connect Chiropractic. Regular chiropractic care can bring life-changing results for folks who suffer from neuropathy and fibromyalgia, nervous system issues that can be corrected. And no worries about twisting, cracking, or popping. The docs at Connect Chiro use all the same method, a special tool that is pain-free and effective for your adjustments. Visit them in Delafield and Wauwatosa or get started online at GoConnectChiro.com.
Looking for the most popular answer. What's the worst thing about Wisconsin winters? Gina Della from Pella.
Finding a sitter when snow closes school. Yay! It's the time of the year when we just want to be all warm and snuggly at home. And Pella helps make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. With inviting doors to let friends and family in and beautiful energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Milwaukee Bucks score a perfect homestand, winning all 4 games. The last one, last night, beating Philadelphia 123-109. After the victory, head coach Doc Rivers acknowledged, despite the win, the overall team effort was a little bit underwhelming.
You know, early in the year we may have lost that, though. Tonight we win the game, and that's what you have to do. You got to stack up wins when you can, and we're doing that.
Yeah, they did that. Milwaukee is now 24-17, heading into a couple of off days before traveling to New Orleans on Wednesday. The NFL Conference Championship games are now set. In the NFC, Washington will travel to Philly Sunday after the Eagles' 28-22 win over the Rams. And the AFC, the Chiefs will host the Bills. And tonight in Atlanta, it's the national championship for college football. 8-seed Ohio State takes on 7-seed Notre Dame.
Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We had an earlier incident at the start of the 11 o'clock hour, blocking the right 2 lanes on 94 East near Highway 164. Looks like everything has now moved off to the right shoulder in that area, and so we have full freeway traffic right now. Elsewhere, just a smattering of broken down vehicles and nothing in the way of traffic. So overall, the system looking good this afternoon, and as far as drive times go, you are free and clear, no major delays.
Can our forecast just be it's cold?
Yeah, we
and
can end
it's
it there.
going to remain cold for a while.
Yeah.
Really cold. No, seriously, though, a cold weather advisory is in effect through noon tomorrow. Expect wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. An extreme cold warning will go into effect for Jefferson, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties at midnight. That's for wind chills as low as 35 below. Very cold, everybody. Take precautions. Today, we have a high of 5 degrees. In the wind chill, 30 below. 30 to 15 below. Sunny, though. It's sunny out there. Tonight, mostly clear, very cold tomorrow. Sunny, very cold again. We have a high of 3 tomorrow, so even cooler than we're sitting at right now. Wednesday, some relief is in sight. We will have scattered snow showers. It's going to be breezy, but it's going to be warmer. We have a high of 23 on Wednesday. Thursday, high of 26, mostly cloudy and some flurries. Friday, mostly sunny, and we're inching up to the 30-degree mark. We won't quite get there. On Friday, we have a high of 28, and it is currently, I'm going to do a little refresh, see if we got one. Nope, still sticking at 1 degree.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Tighe, and in for Greg Metzik, it's Adam Roberts.
Happy Monday, everybody. If you were listening to us during our last hour, you listened to history, the inauguration of Donald Trump, sworn in once again as our president, this time as our nation's 47th president.
Specifically, an indoor ceremony today, obviously not just cold here in Wisconsin, also in the nation's capital. Now ceremonies moving outside as the farewell for now former President Joe Biden set to take place as he will depart the Capitol in the large chopper that they have landed outside the rotunda. That's a much larger helicopter than I previously remember it being.
The inauguration of Donald Trump is our big story today.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Donald Trump returns to power today after an unbelievable comeback.
Will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The new president was just sworn in at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. In his first speech after being sworn in for his second term, President Trump vowed to bring about a golden age of America. He also announced he's declaring a state of emergency at the U.S. border with Mexico.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
President Trump also renewed his promises to rename the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska's Mount Denali.
A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs.
And it's kind of interesting as we watch these pictures come in live. You have the Bidens walking right next to the Trumps as they get ready to say that final farewell to the Bidens. Before today's speech and swearing in, there was a morning church service at St. John's and tea time at the White House. The Bidens greeted the Trumps. They took a few photos. That was the big photo op. Then they poured the tea. Welcome home was the message. Before leaving office, President Joe Biden issued sweeping pardons for several people who Trump has singled out for possible prosecution. And President Trump's speech was supposed to be delivered on a platform outside, but as we've been talking about this cold weather, well, they're dealing with it in D.C. too, not as cold as here, but it was moved inside because of the cold weather, and that's the first time that's happened in 40 years.
Number 2, from the East Coast to the Middle East, where it is day 2 of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, and the release of previously held hostages continues. 3 of those hostages taken by Hamas, as well as dozens of Palestinian prisoners who had been arrested by Israel, are freed this afternoon. And we're also getting more information inside Gaza, looking at some of the destruction in that strip after more than a year of war. ABC's Ian Pennell.
Shocking images this morning of a wasteland of dust and debris. Entire communities, lives gone. Over 46,000 died here, according to the Hamas Health Ministry. The reconstruction will take years.
So the UN conducted a damage assessment of Gaza earlier this month, and they indicate it may take 21 years and over $1 billion to remove just the rubble of that is in the streets of Gaza, and that's just to remove rubble. That's not even beginning to account for rebuilding the area. Meanwhile, the timeline for further hostage release will play out so. Saturday, 4 female living hostages set to be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners, and then for 4 weeks after that, prisoners will be released every 7 days in exchange for 3 male and female hostages. And then once all the hostages have been released, Israel will release 47 of their own prisoners.
1 day down, 2 more to go. We are in the midst of a deep freeze. A cold weather advisory is in effect right now for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Wind chills near 35 below are possible tonight. And when it's that cold, take note because frostbite can happen in just 10 minutes. Many kids had the day off school today for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but it's going to be dangerously cold again tomorrow. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen will join us coming up at 12:37 today to explain how cold it's going to get yet and when we'll finally get a little relief and warm up. And just before we leave, I wanted to let you know that we were watching as former President Joe Biden departs the Capitol as Trump takes office. Biden will have some farewell remarks coming up at Joint Base Andrews, and that's where President Biden and Dr. Biden are departing the U.S. Capitol and headed there right now. It's 12:14.
Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I remember I never spoke in front of a podium until the NFC Championship game.
See the world from his perspective.
With all due respect, why were you asked to go to the podium?
To be podium guy.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, every day at 7:50.
What do you mean with all due respect?
I didn't want it to come off like I was being rude. I'm just curious.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It comes off incredibly rude. Hey, Tausch, you suck. What are you doing up at the podium? Well, thanks, Bill.
Presented by Hello Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Kohler Services.
Is outdoor living limited at your place? Well, imagine a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, maybe even an outdoor kitchen in your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that consults, designs, and builds these things. They're the best. Let them make outdoor living unlimited in your yard like they did in ours. We are Wisconsin. We live outdoors as much as possible. Make the most of it with help from Outdoor Living Unlimited. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
We have Tim Tighe from the MMAC join us, but he's taking a little bit of a vacation. You know, we were talking about cold weather and a warm weather destination. I don't know where he is, but I bet he's somewhere warmer than this.
A man of mystery, Mr. Tighe, in parts unknown this week.
I bet we can find out where he is. I don't know if we need to tell people, but Andrew Davis is here, VP of Governmental Affairs at MMAC. He's somewhere, can you tell us he's somewhere warmer than 1 degree?
We'll say yes.
Yeah.
We'll say yes.
Not quite sure.
Oh, man. Well, talking about winter in Wisconsin, American Family Field is getting ready to see some big changes. A home for winter concerts and more gathering spaces. Gathering spaces is something we really haven't heard that much about. We've heard a lot about winterization, but what are they looking for these new gathering spaces?
I think they're really just trying to update the experience. I mean, you see ballparks across the country making these updates. And I think our ballpark is due. So this was all part of the plan while it came at the end, these additions to expand. But I think it'll be a great experience for the ballpark and for all fans going.
It sounds really cool, too, to watch games in a festival-like atmosphere. It kind of reminds me a little bit, I know it's going to be different, but the Deer District, when they had those playoff games, especially during the pandemic, and they said, just everybody come down here and have fun outside and enjoy the game together.
Agreed. Everyone enjoys the tailgate experience in Wisconsin at our professional sports. So, the Deer District is its version of that. And I think this adds just another level of the celebration of the Brewers and having Major League Baseball still here in Milwaukee.
Andrew, can you talk about how this may serve as a catalyst for business in, we'll just say the Menominee Valley? Because if you're familiar with the area around the ballpark, you have Blue Mound Road, where a lot of the bars and shuttles will bring people down to the stadium before a game. And then you have National Avenue with a little bit less, but of course, Fourth Base, very notable bar on that strip as well. And then in between, there's basically the ballpark, and that's kind of it. Talk a little bit about how, as this sort of gathering space develops, will this be a catalyst for maybe more business popping up in that valley, which has been without it for so long?
Well, that was part of the discussion as they talked about this new lease and how these modernizations could take place at the ballpark and in those parking lots. Between National and between Blue Mound, I think all you've got is a bunch of grills and probably coolers, right, in those parking lots. So I think this just gets people's minds open to how things could be done differently in all that space around the ballpark.
Also, a lot of brats, a lot of beer.
Just a few.
It's all there. How did MMAC play a role in all of this?
So we have a seat on that on the Southeast Park Baseball District Board, and we lobbied for this and advocated for it in Madison throughout the legislative session last year. And we were so glad that it came back at the end in November of 23 to get it done. But we were always in the Capitol in Madison with a huge coalition from the business community and others across the state to keep Major League Baseball in Wisconsin. We got to keep Milwaukee Major League, and you don't get baseball teams or professional sports teams back usually after you lose them.
What was that chorus when you actually went there to the Capitol each time? What were you actually saying?
Well, it wasn't quite like the Bucks campaign that we ran, cheaper to keep him, but that played into the same. We already had a lot of legislators that we advocated on behalf of Milwaukee for the Bucks last time, already with the narrative of we need to keep these professional sports teams here. The player income tax that they pay in to the system here when they come and play is enough because it makes dollars and cents, and it's better for Milwaukee and Wisconsin.
Bringing it back around real quickly to the idea of winterization, because as Jessica mentioned, we've talked about it before. I think it's a term, if you've listened to this segment, you're familiar with what that means. But Andrew, I want to pick your brain a little bit because winterization is being done in part to attract bigger events year-round at this stadium. Perfect world, what would you love to see happen at American Family Field that maybe we haven't had yet?
Oh, so I get to pick.
You
All
do.
Right.
I'm putting you on here
I'm
right
going to
now.
lobby personally here on something I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I'm a big golfer. I'd like to see something golf related. They've already tried to dabble into that a little bit at the ballpark, and I've not gone to that experience. But other shows, I know they book a lot of country acts there. You've got some local officials really lobbying for a wrestling event. So that could be a really cool, different change of pace there. But that was part when you said the chorus of what we went to Madison or anywhere else to bring people on board with this coalition. That was part of it. It's let's think about how we can use this space year-round on the calendar, not just during baseball season.
Well, it takes a lot of money to do that, but we're happy to see Milwaukee remain, as you said, a major league city. Also on the minds of people when it comes to money, property taxes and those checks that went out or that are going out. I know I put mine in. I think I put mine in before the new year. So, yep, that money is already out of the bank account, and sometimes it just hurts looking at it. Why did property taxes go up?
So it's that time of year again, isn't it? Everyone's feeling it, and you always remember it a lot quicker in January or December when you get that bill and you're paying it. So property taxes went up drastically in the city of Milwaukee due to a very narrowly passed referendum last spring. The Milwaukee Public Schools raised their property tax levy. It's going from about $320 to $414 million, and that's a 29% increase, and that's the huge driver at the city.
I'd like to take out the handy little dandy thing that they put in. Yeah, it says the combined property tax report, and it just breaks up the dollar. Because I think it's important. This is like just an easy little thing for people to realize. 43 cents of the dollar goes to Milwaukee Public Schools, 34 cents to the city of Milwaukee, 14 cents to Milwaukee County, 5 cents to the sewerage district, 4 cents to MATC. I think something that's important to note, too, a lot of times people see their property taxes go up and then or they see their assessments go up, and they think, oh gosh, and they did. The assessments in Milwaukee went up significantly this year, and they've gone up in past years as well, but significantly this year to the point where it was really hard to swallow for a lot of people. A lot of people see that assessment and they assume that the property taxes are going to go up significantly too, but that's not always the case. Can you explain that?
Well, sure. They have the ability. They have the property tax levy that's going up, and they can raise it up to that. So it's not too common that many don't go to that limit, but they don't have to. But one thing I want to touch back on, because we're talking about the referendum, last year I think it was almost 170 referendums were on the ballot and passed statewide. And I think this just sends a real clear message from voters across the state, Republican or Democrat, that something needs to be rectified in Madison on how we address school funding and how that affects property tax bills, because it can't just keep be putting back on the property taxpayers' backs. And they're the one footing the bill, especially even more so here in Milwaukee.
I was going to ask, is this an either-or situation? Like we're either going to keep voting for referenda or your property taxes may go down? You can't really have one without the other?
If they can figure out a fix in the funding formula so that this isn't just school districts going to referendum, but people are putting them on the ballot and they're passing them. So it's communities and voters that are in their own school districts saying, we know the issue, we see the numbers and the data presented in front of us, and we support this. So a lot of them are passing. So I think it just drives the narrative of something, a larger fix in Madison and how we address this.
So when it comes to the MMAC and the groups that you support, how would you like to see this dollar split up differently or tweaked?
We'd like to.
I'm handing it over just to be specific.
Had a copy. Well, the two largest drivers here, obviously, the city and Milwaukee Public Schools. I mean, Milwaukee Public School property tax levy is almost half. So we need to figure out a way that the schools within Milwaukee Public Schools and all schools in the city of Milwaukee can receive the resources they need, while it's not just going to a referendum or being put on the property taxpayer to do it. So we'd like to see that number come down to 43 cents. And, we're confident over some years ahead of us in good governing that the city of Milwaukee number could come down. But those services aren't declining. I mean, they need to have them as best as they can. So.
Sure. We're talking to Andrew Davis, VP of Governmental Affairs for the MMAC. This next topic might make eyes glaze over for some people, so I'm really happy that you are here to explain it. The Wisconsin Ozone Non-Attainment Zone reclassified.
Yes.
What does that mean, and what does it mean for the economy?
It means a couple different things, and what it means for the economy especially is that if things continue right now after this change was made, our current companies here in Wisconsin are going to be kind of kneecapped. But what it really does is it hamstrings up an economic development. So let's go back to what they did.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, the EPA put in a new designation for our zone. We were moderate. Now we're severe. What this does under the Clean Air Act, it ramps up some of the measures you have to meet and the metrics you have to meet. Clean air and the ozone the concentration of ozone here in our zone has actually gone down and gotten better by 22% over the last 20 years. But the way the Clean Air Act is written, those efforts continue to go up as our air is continually getting cleaner. Now, I'm going to try and explain this as easy as I can.
Please.
But I know it's not a real easy one to listen to. But what's happening here is we're getting blamed for something that isn't entirely our fault or our problem. Well, it's our problem, but not our fault. We have all this ozone coming up over Lake Michigan and just baking over the water and in the sun, coming up from Chicagoland metro area and northern Indiana. And 90+% of these emissions are not originating in our zone. So what it's doing is it's going to hurt our manufacturers, the manufacturing sector, and our members, and everyone in southeastern Wisconsin. But like I said earlier, it really hamstrings economic development because now we've got companies globally that were considering Milwaukee or this region, and now they might not be able to, or they're not even going to let us know they were interested. We won't know.
So the solution isn't just planting thousands and thousands of trees to try and absorb the ozone?
Ironically, no, it's not. I think the anecdote we've been using is everyone could stop driving cars. We could just plant nothing but trees in this region. There'd be no people here, and we would still be in non-attainment.
See, I knew you'd explain it well.
I tried.
Andrew Davis, VP of Governmental Affairs for the MMAC. Thanks for joining us on this Monday.
Thanks for having me.
It's 12:26 coming up next. Your top local headlines and national news as well.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
It's not a hidden fee, it's a surprise fee. Surprise!
Like they're just making things harder.
That's not my department. I gotta transfer you.
Or like they don't even know you?
That sounds like a you problem.
At Wintrust, we take a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, we've got local experts ready to lend a hand.
Wintrust.
Start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/bully-free. Wintrust. Different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop in and load up on great everyday essentials at Fleet Farm Stock Up Sale, January 16th through the 29th. 40-pound bags of Morton Water Softener Salt are just $5.99. Superior hardwood fuel pellets are on sale for $5.49 a bag. And don't forget your backyard friends. 40-pound bags of black oil sunflower seed are just $14.99. Be sure to stock up on all your everyday favorites, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm Stock Up Sale.
No
Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra concertmaster Jinwoo Lee is the soloist in the tuneful and romantic violin concerto by Jean Sibelius, January 24th and 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Music director Ken David Mazur will lead the MSO in this program, which also features the tone poem Pan and Syrinx by Danish composer Carl Nielsen, as well as this searingly beautiful musical elegy Within Her Arms by British contemporary composer Anna Klein. Tchaikovsky's dazzling Romeo and Juliet rounds out this lush and dreamy program. Visit MSO.org for tickets and more information, or call the box office now at 414-291-7605. The number again for tickets is 414-291-7605.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, January 20th. It's 12:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump and J.D. Vance sworn into office in the Capitol Rotunda. The 47th president in his first speech that followed vowed to usher in a new golden age.
Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization.
President Trump also pledging to reverse the Biden administration's executive orders. ABC's Karen Travers has more on the day.
We expect him to do some signing ceremonies still up at the Capitol and then head down to Capital One Arena, where a lot of his supporters have been standing in lines for hours to get in. That's where the parade was moved. They took the outdoor parade. They're going to do an indoor celebration there. The president and first lady are expected to stop by. And then he's going to be here at the White House. And that's when we expect some of those executive orders to be signed.
Former President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden were outside the Capitol and boarded a military helicopter departing Washington, D.C. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:31.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, President Donald Trump vowing executive action to pause a ban on the social media app TikTok.
At the end of the day, TikTok itself, the app, is not the concern.
Wisconsin Congressman Brian Stile tells WTMJ he believes President Trump will broker a deal that separates the app from its parent company. He suggests the fact that that hasn't happened yet is revealing.
The fact that they won't divest of it, meaning sell it for billions of dollars to separate this national security concern, they would rather have your data than have the money of selling the company.
Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
A deep freeze set in across southeast Wisconsin today and for the next 2 days. Wind chills between 20 and 30 below zero for much of the region. Now, Storm Team 4 meteorologist Tyler Moore says while the current temperatures are the coldest so far we've felt this winter, things could have even been worse.
Thankfully, the lack of snow on the ground is actually really doing us a favor this morning. It could be about 10 degrees colder if we had a snowpack on the ground. It almost acts as a refrigerator and freezer to drop those temperatures even further.
In any case, the cold weather advisory is still in effect through noon Tuesday. Meanwhile, for areas north and west of Milwaukee, an extreme cold warning will go into effect at midnight tonight until noon tomorrow. Wind chills there could reach 35 below. Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in about 4 minutes.
A few reminders on ways to keep your home warm and safe during this bitterly cold weather.
There's a few simple things you can do to heat your home more efficiently. Seal gaps around windows and doors. Change your furnace filter. Open the curtains or blinds when the sun is out, but close them at night to retain that heat. Space heaters and electric blankets should always be turned off and unplugged when not in use. A space heater should also be plugged directly into the wall and kept away from flammable materials. Also, to avoid risk for carbon monoxide poisoning, never use an oven to heat your home, and clear snow and ice away from your home's natural gas meter. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
New data indicates the homeless population in Milwaukee is on the way down.
Across the country, homeless numbers are up, hitting record levels, but Milwaukee saw a decline. A new study cited in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel says the city's number dipped from last year. Meanwhile, Madison and Racine saw their numbers remain relatively stable. Now, across the country, 771,000 people experienced homelessness in 2024, an 18% increase. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Just want to give you a quick breaking news update here as we brought you the swearing-in ceremony for President Donald Trump, sworn in as our 47th president. Chapter 2 for him. Right now, he is greeting an inauguration crowd at the Capitol. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Frederick and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit frederick.com/cancer.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time AccuNet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk.
Jackson behind the back pass to Giannis going the other way, who stuffs it down on some terrific playmaking from the second-year man out of UConn.
Dave Kane with the call right here on WTMJ. Giannis would finish with 34 points, including that slam, as the Bucks easily handle the Sixers 123-109. Milwaukee has today and tomorrow off ahead of a road trip to New Orleans come Wednesday. College football will crown a new national champion tonight as Ohio State faces Notre Dame. That's in Atlanta. And on the hardwood, the Wisconsin women are back in action tonight against Nebraska, looking for their first win since December 20th. The men are off tonight before visiting UCLA tomorrow. Badger Sports Updates sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
Let's check the roads. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic on the ramp right now at 43 North from North Avenue. We've got the right shoulder blocked. That's due to a broken down vehicle there. Elsewhere, just a smattering of other broken down vehicles, including one again on 94 East near Highway 164, where we earlier had 2 right lanes blocked. Everything is free and clear there right now. And drive times are looking still pretty good this afternoon. No major delays.
A cold weather advisory is in effect through noon tomorrow. Expect wind chills of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. An extreme cold warning will go into effect for Jefferson, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties at midnight. And that's for wind chills as low as 35 below. We're going to get more details on that with WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen. Joins us live now, where it is currently 1 degree in Milwaukee. But man, the wind making it feel so much worse. Craig, have we reached the lowest of the lows, or is that to come yet?
No, it's still to come, Jessica. Hi, Jessica and Adam. Hi, everybody. The lowest of the low, the coldest is going to be tomorrow morning when the wind chill will be running around 30 below, maybe as much as 35 below in some places north of Milwaukee. One way or the other, whether you're in Milwaukee or outside of Milwaukee, it is going to get colder from here.
And Craig, we've seen now an extreme cold warning. One of the new terms from the National Weather Service this year is in effect for those areas north and west of the city. In your estimation, do you expect that will not trend further south and east, probably just staying north of the urban Milwaukee area?
Sounds like we might have lost him for a second, but as we try to get him back, I think about this cold weather. Oh, there he is. Hey, Craig.
Hear me? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I think the question was, do I expect the extreme cold warning to be expanded to cover the Milwaukee area? Is that right?
That's right.
I think it very well might be expanded to cover Waukesha County and Walworth County, which it doesn't right now. Whether it's expanded to cover Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha County or not, I think the National Weather Service is still evaluating that early this afternoon. But it's right there on the borderline. It really, for all intents and purposes, isn't really going to matter. A cold weather advisory is issued for wind chills 20 to 29 below. An extreme cold warning is when it hits 30 below or colder. So we're going to be in the neighborhood of 30 below, no matter where we are. So one way or another, it is just going to be brutally cold for everybody.
I think about all the kids today. Thank goodness MLK Day. We had so many schools that were off, but tomorrow school's supposed to be back in session. Can you explain how our local districts use your weather forecast to determine if it's safe for kids to be out at the bus stop?
Well, I can't specifically because I know each school district uses somewhat different criteria, and it has everything to do with what the actual temperature is to the more so the wind chill, and then of course what type of busing capabilities there are or aren't in certain districts based on the cold. But in general, at least anecdotally, and in some cases specifically, I've been told by different districts that they use about 35 below zero on the wind chill as their sort of yes, no, school or not. So we're going to be approaching that tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning, especially in the northern and western counties. But again, I don't want to call that, I don't want to speak direct or specifically for any specific school district because I know they all vary. But in general, I've heard, it's been my understanding that around 35 below is where a lot of districts make the call to shut down.
Craig, I know the last few winters have been definitely not what you would call frigid ones, and these sort of spouts of cold air were maybe more hard to find than others, but it does happen at least once a year. Historically, if you have data or if even just anecdotally, how often do we usually get these really deep freeze spells, more so in the last few years?
Yeah, I think there have been fewer There have been fewer in the last few years, and they have been less extreme. I think about very early 2019. I'm sorry, late 2018, that is, was one of the last times that we had a real significant, where we barely had a high temperature above 10 below zero. And that's not the wind chill, the actual temperature above zero. That was late 2018, I believe. We haven't had a bout like that in several years. But the number of cold weather blasts that we're having today, yesterday, and tomorrow as well, have been decreasing in number. They haven't been quite as intense over the last couple of years. There's no doubt about that.
WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen on the deep freeze we're under. Thanks so much, Craig. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
It's 12:43. Coming up next, details on the post-inauguration immigration raids we expect.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Want to get you down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel and help usher in a new era of sports betting. Have you seen it? Potawatomi Sportsbook. Dozens of self-serve kiosks, a beautiful 2,000-square-foot video wall, seating for over 200. The restaurant is great, full bar, VIP deck, and more. I'm telling you, it's the best place to watch sports in the area. And if you're in a rush, they've got free 20-minute reserved parking spaces near the Skywalk. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook. The place is incredible. Hope to see you there.
Special Milwaukee Auto Show Advance Discount Ticket Offer has been extended to January 22nd. Turns out a lot of people want to come to the auto show. Get your auto show tickets now at a big discount. Buy a single ticket, or how about a pair of tickets for date night? Or you can buy a family 4-pack and take everybody. They can see all the latest vehicles, including cars, trucks, SUVs, luxury cars, and much more. For advanced discount tickets, go to autoshowmilwaukee.com. That's autoshowmilwaukee.com.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Family owned, family operated, family values. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
New Year's resolution, finally do something about that old garage door. Vince Vitrano for Lifetime Door Company. Time to give the biggest door to your home the look, style, and function it demands. Our holiday guests, first thing they say when they walk in, wow, that new garage door looks really nice. Lifetime also installed a new opener. So quiet, LED lights, camera equipped. You can even run it from an app on your phone. To help fit your budget through January, tell them Vinny sent you. They'll knock 5% off the total purchase on all service and installation. Get started at lifetimedoor.net.
Hey you, I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Higginson, Saturday afternoon at 2. Tune in each week as John exposes industry myths for truth seekers looking to navigate their way to financial freedom. What he reveals may surprise you. To learn more about the show and how creative planning can help you build a custom financial plan and portfolio tailored to you and your goals, visit creativeplanning.com/radio. Don't settle for outdated advice. Your money deserves better, and so do you.
Raids to detain and deport migrants living in the U.S. without permission are set to begin almost immediately as Donald Trump takes office again. Trump has vowed to oversee the largest deportation program in U.S. history. ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts joins us from Washington. Steve, how are these targeted enforcement operations likely to go down?
Well, it's a good question, and it's a little uncertain, but Trump's chief czar on enforcement issues, Tom Homan, has said repeatedly, we're going to start these raids right away. Now, they've also talked about aiming their aids at their raids at folks who perhaps have been accused of crimes, but that's easier said than done. And I think it'll be very popular with Trump's base to have images of ICE enforcement agents rounding people up. It's one of the issues that helped elect him to a second term. But there's a potential problem here. Yes, there are 11 million undocumented foreigners in this country, including, I'm sure, plenty in Milwaukee. But those 11 million families have 4.4 million American-born children who are citizens. And let's remember, during the first Trump administration, one of the real public relations disasters for him was these scenes of families being separated and parents being deported and kids who are citizens left behind. And you could run into exactly the same problem. It's easy in the abstract to talk about these foreigners as somehow and demonize them, but they've threaded their way through these communities. Many of them have been there for generations. They have businesses, they have families, they have relatives. It's a lot easier to talk about exporting undocumented foreigners than it is to actually do it.
Can you give us a sense of what parts of the country will be, I guess, targeted first by Homan, and specifically within the first 24 to 48 hours after Trump takes office?
Well, there was a leak of a report that said they were going to focus on Chicago.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Chicago is a city that's run by Democrats. It's always been kind of a symbol for Trump of all he sees as bad in Democratic-run cities, along with New York and a couple of other big cities. But Homan said over the weekend, well, that story was inaccurate. He doesn't know where it came from. So it's hard to know. But I would guess that you've got two targets if you look at Trump's history in this area. Some of this will be just border enforcement. It will be around the border, folks who might have crossed into Texas. And you got to remember that areas of Texas, including a lot of Hispanic voters, voted for Trump along the border areas. So his enforcement policy is popular down there. But I would also look at the big cities run by Democrats, where Trump can make the argument that it's sort of the corrupt Democratic administrations that are harboring these illegals. And let's remember how often you had governors of Florida and Texas sending undocumented immigrants to these northern cities over the last couple of years. So if you look at that pattern, you can at least guess that that's where a lot of the enforcement is going to be focused.
We're talking with ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts in Washington. ICE faces a budget shortfall. Is it possible this operation doesn't even make it to a medium-sized city like Milwaukee, or will it just take more time?
I just don't know. But one of the executive orders that Trump is preparing, and today or in the next couple of days, would be to declare an emergency, a national emergency relating to immigration. It's a public relations ploy, but it could have a practical benefit, and that is it could free up both the Department of Defense funds and perhaps even National Guard troops to help implement the enforcement. So ICE might be supplemented with military forces and military money. And, Trump is determined to make a big splash. Trump is determined he's a showman at heart. You have to understand that. And this is his chance at the beginning of his second term to make a big splash. And so enforcement is probably the single most tangible way that Donald Trump can say, I'm now the president again. And that's why I expect a significant amount of enforcement effort very quickly, because there's almost nothing else he could do that could have the same kind of public relations impact.
And also, Steve, I'm curious, are you hearing any word from states and cities where these enforcements are expected to be taken? Are you hearing any word on possible stalling tactics that may be utilized by Democrats in those cities to, if not prevent this enforcement from happening, at least slow down the process?
Yeah. This is very much a potential tension point. progressive cities, democratic cities are not going to necessarily cooperate. And you probably need a fair amount of local law enforcement cooperation. They understand these cities. They understand the neighborhoods. And, federal law enforcement agencies swooping in are not necessarily going to be able to do this very efficiently. And, over the years, you've had a number of democratic cities have called themselves sanctuary cities where they have explicitly said that they, that they would protect undocumented immigrants. Joe Biden himself, as president, has said many times that he does not favor the arrest and deportation of these undocumented immigrants. And so, yes, absolutely, there could be a potential for real tension between Trump's federal enforcement efforts and Democratic-run cities.
You have a lot of people right now who are scared. They're afraid. They're making plans in case this happens to them. I was reading some reports last night that you have people who are going to their neighbors and saying, if they get me here, can you make sure that my house gets sold? Can you take care of my finances? What's going to happen to these people after they're arrested? What's the process?
Each situation is a little different depending on their record, depending on whether they've been accused or convicted of crimes, or whether they, you got 11 million people. They're not all the same. There's a vast range of, but one of the areas, as I point out, that I think could be particularly sensitive are these families, because it's not just going to your neighbors and say, take care of my house, take care of my mortgage. It's also take care of my children. Because let's remember, as I say, there are 4.4 million children of these undocumented immigrants who are legal American citizens. You can't just take these kids and deport them. They have a right to stay. And so in many ways, the biggest potential flashpoint, I think, will be over these blended families where you might have a parent or two parents who are undocumented, but the kids who are citizens. And how do you handle those situations? Coming in with brute force is not necessarily the way to do that, and it could lead to a lot of heart-wrenching scenes and very much a potential backlash. It's very easy, not very easy. It's easier to demonize immigrants as a group and as an abstraction. But the fact is, many of these undocumented immigrants are people's neighbors. They're people's friends. They're people's relatives. They run businesses. They're the ones who are building new houses. They're the ones who are taking care of the lawns. They play an important role in the culture and the economics of many American communities. It's not going to be easy to untangle this. It's easy to talk about it in the abstract. It's much harder to actually implement this policy in practice.
Do you expect lawsuit after lawsuit once this all starts happening?
Absolutely. The immigration lawyers, among others, for every executive order, and it's not just the area of immigration. There are many other areas that Donald Trump and today and the days ahead is going to be issuing a whole series of executive orders. One example being the area of environmental policy, executive orders relating to where folks can drill for fossil fuels, issues like that. For every executive order that Donald Trump is preparing, there's a squadron of progressive lawyers ready to go into court to try to challenge it. So I think this will be true on immigration, but I think it'll be true in many other areas as well.
ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts in Washington on the raids to detain and deport migrants living in the U.S. without permission. Thanks so much, Steve.
Anytime.
A historic day here in Wisconsin's Midday News. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Top stories coming up next. It's 12:56.
Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
A sinkhole has caused havoc.
The streets want to eat cars. The earth is just turning against us in Whitefish Bay. This time, we can't just blame the earth. This time, we have to blame the arrogance and stupidity of a driver. Then that's nature saying you deed around and you found out. Drove around
Isn't it
and
F?
found out. Well,
Isn't it after around?
Not when you're driving. When you're driving, it's deed.
Oh.
See, I did a little play on words there.
Only on WTMJ.
Hi, this is Julie Coombs and Cindy Storm Fisher with Storm Fisher Investment Group. Are you a retiring professional worried about the direction of our economy, about making your money last?